I raised my daughter with love, honesty, and one devastating lie. Now, she won't even look me in the eye. I never meant to hurt her. I thought I was protecting her. But sometimes, love and fear wear the same mask. And now, all I'm left with is the silence between us. My name is Michael. I'm 62 years old. My daughter's name is Emily. For 30 years, I've watched her grow into the most brilliant, kind, and strong woman I've ever known. And for 30 years, she called me Dad without knowing the whole truth. Emily grew up believing my late wife, Susan, was her biological mother. In every way that mattered, she was. She kissed scraped knees, helped with school projects, stayed up all night during fevers. But Susan didn't give birth to her. Another woman did. One Emily never met. The truth is, Emily's real mother died when Emily was just a baby. Her name was Laura. She was the love of my life before Susan. We weren't married. It was a complicated time. Laura passed away suddenly. I was lost, and Susan, who had always loved me quietly, stepped in, helped me raise Emily when I couldn't breathe. We married 2 years later. Not out of pity or pressure, but love. Real love. Susan became the only mother Emily ever knew. And I buried the truth under years of bedtime stories and Christmas mornings. I kept telling myself, when she's older, I'll tell her. But then she turned 10, then 16, then 20. And every time I looked into her eyes, I saw trust. I saw peace. And I couldn't bring myself to break it. So I didn't. I let it live untouched. Until it didn't. Because the truth always finds a way out. And when it does, it takes everything with it. When Laura died, I was 28. We had just moved into a tiny apartment. Emily was 6 months old. I remember holding her while signing death papers. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. People said, "Be strong for your daughter." But I didn't even know how to breathe without Laura. Susan showed up when I needed someone most. She was a friend from college. Kind, calm, patient. She never tried to replace Laura, just helped me survive. First, with groceries. Then with laundry. Then, slowly, with moments of silence that didn't feel like drowning. When she moved in, it felt like rescue. Emily smiled more. I laughed again. Susan read her stories, held her when she cried, called her sweetheart without thinking twice. By the time Emily was 3, she called her mommy. We didn't correct her. How could we? Susan earned that word with every heartbeat. We married when Emily was 5. Quiet ceremony. Just us and a few close friends. No photos of Laura. No reminders. I convinced myself it was okay. That I wasn't erasing the past, I was protecting the future. And for a long time, it worked. Emily thrived. Straight A's, music lessons, science fairs. She became this radiant force of light. And every time she hugged me or whispered, "I love you, Dad," I felt like maybe the truth didn't matter anymore. Maybe love was enough. But deep down, I knew. I knew I owed her the truth. I knew a day would come when she'd ask about blood types or family history or medical records. And each time, I had an excuse. A reason to wait. A reason to protect her just a little longer. Then she turned 30. Bought one of those Ancestry DNA kits as a joke. "Let's see if I'm part Viking," she laughed. I laughed too. But inside, I felt the world start to shake. Because I knew. I knew the lie I had raised her with was about to collapse. And I had no idea how much it would cost me. She called me the moment the results came in. I could hear it in her voice, something was off. "Dad," she said, "why does this say I'm not related to Mom?" My heart stopped. I stood in the kitchen, gripping the counter, trying to form words that didn't exist. I stammered. "It's complicated." She went quiet. "So it's true?" I said yes. And just like that, a silence heavier than any scream fell between us. She asked, "Why didn't you tell me?" And all I could say was, "I thought I was protecting you." She laughed. Bitter, cold. "Protecting me? You built my life on a lie." I tried to explain. Told her about Laura, about how young we were, how I didn't want her to grow up with grief, how Susan loved her like her own. But it didn't matter. None of it did. You let me believe a fantasy, she said. You watched me cry at Mom's grave every year, and you never said a word. That broke something in me, because she was right. I stood beside her at every memorial and held her hand while she mourned someone she never truly knew. She hung up. No goodbye. No promise to talk later. Just a click. I tried calling back. Sent messages. Nothing. A week passed. Then 2. My calls went straight to voicemail. Her name still lit up in my favorites list, but her voice was gone. I wanted to tell her that love isn't always perfect, that I made a choice from pain, not deception, that I never stopped being her father. But in her eyes, I was a stranger now, a man who betrayed the very bond I claimed to protect. And there's nothing lonelier than being erased by someone you love more than yourself. 3 weeks after the call, I found an envelope in my mailbox. No return address, just my name in her handwriting. I knew before I opened it. I sat at the table, hands trembling. The paper was thin. The words, sharp. Dad, I need space. I don't know who you are anymore. I don't know who I am. She wrote that she felt like her whole life had been a performance she didn't audition for. That every birthday, every family photo, now felt like a lie. She said she couldn't pretend everything was okay just because my intentions were good. And then came the sentence that broke me. I don't hate you, but I don't trust you. And I don't know when I will again. I read it 5 times. Then I folded it back slowly, like it would fall apart if I touched it wrong. Part of me wished it had. I didn't eat for days. Couldn't sleep. I wandered the house like a ghost. Everywhere I looked, I saw her. Her handprint in old drawings. Her smile in graduation photos. Her voice in voicemail messages I now played on repeat, just to remember what closeness sounded like. One night, I opened a drawer and found an old camcorder tape labeled Daddy and Me. It was from when she was 6. We were making pancakes. She spilled flour everywhere. I laughed so hard I cried. On the tape, she looked at the camera and said, "I love you, Daddy, forever." I sat on the floor and let the tape play on loop. Not because it fixed anything, but because it reminded me that once, before the lies, there was something pure between us. And I didn't lose that because I stopped loving her. I lost it because I loved her too much to tell her the truth. Now I wasn't sure if I'd ever get that love back. I started writing to her every week. Not emails, not texts, real letters. Ink and paper, the kind you have to hold in your hands, the kind that carry weight. I didn't ask for forgiveness. I didn't beg. I just told her the truth, one layer at a time. I wrote about Laura, about who she was, how she laughed with her whole face, how she held Emily the night before she died, whispering, "You're everything." I told her how much Susan loved her too, how she gave up having her own children to raise Emily as her own. I wrote about the fear, the nights I'd stand at her door, wondering if tomorrow would be the day I told her, and the next day, and the one after that. I explained how shame paralyzes you, how love can make you cowardly, how silence feels safer until it kills something sacred. Weeks turned into months. No reply. But I kept writing. Every letter ended the same way. I love you, and I always will. I didn't expect an answer. I just needed her to know that even if the bridge was burned, I was still standing on my side of the river, waiting. I went back through photo albums, saw her first step, her first lost tooth, her first piano recital, and I realized I wasn't mourning the truth. I was mourning the trust, the connection that took decades to build and seconds to lose. And yet, I couldn't stop hoping, because when you're a parent, hope is the last thing to leave you, even after love is questioned, even after silence becomes punishment, even after your child writes that they don't trust you anymore. You keep hoping, because one day she might open the mailbox and read one letter, just one, And maybe it will remind her of who we were before the silence. 3 months after the last letter, I got a message. Just one sentence. I'm not ready to talk, but I read them. No punctuation, no warmth. But I read it over and over like it was a lifeline. Because it was. A sign that maybe, just maybe, I hadn't lost her completely. I don't know if she'll ever come back. I don't know if she'll forgive me. But I'll keep writing, keep waiting. Because love doesn't expire. It just learns to live in quiet places, hoping for open doors. Sometimes I sit on the porch with a mug of coffee and imagine her walking up the steps. No anger, no shouting. Just a look that says, I've missed you too. And maybe that's foolish. But I've lived with a lie for 30 years. Hope is far gentler. I've learned that even the deepest love can be shattered by silence. That lies told with the best intentions still hurt like any other. That truth may be painful, but secrets poison slowly until trust dies with them. If I could go back, I would have told her everything. Not all at once, but piece by piece. With honesty, with fear, but also with faith that love is strong enough to handle truth. I waited too long, and now all I can do is wait for her. So I ask you this, if your greatest act of love was also your greatest lie, could you ever be forgiven?